In this video, I'm going to be sharing some of the tough situations I found myself in living abroad and the lessons I've learned from them. When I first moved into my first university accommodation, I had a problem with my heater and I stayed with a broken heater for about 4 months and I was freezing cold in my room. Like, I was surviving in that room. I wasn't even leaving. When my sister found out what was happening, she was like, there's no way you're living in that room in this kind of conditions in the UK. You have to call them and make a complaint. As soon as I called the school's facility team, the next day when I came back from school, my heater was fixed. So I stayed 4 months freezing just because I did not make one phone call. I also had another experience when I had a problem with my laptop and I took it to the technician and he literally spent so much time on the laptop. He was like, I'm still doing this, I'm still doing that. And I told him, just tell me how much it's going to cost me to fix this laptop and I'll decide if I want to fix the laptop or not. And he took so much time with that laptop. And the day when I decided to get the laptop from him, he was like, oh, I've opened the laptop and you have to pay me £45 because I opened the laptop and I've spent my time on it. And I was like, I don't have £45 to give you. And then we just concluded that he's going to keep the laptop since I did not have £45 to give him. And when I say it now, it's actually infuriating. Like, why would I even do such a thing? But when I told my sister what happened and how I just left the guy with the laptop, she was so mad. She was like, you better go and bring that laptop back here. And immediately I stood my ground. I messaged the guy with the laptop. I was like, you know, I did not ask you to touch the laptop. If you did touch the laptop, that's not my problem to pay for. The computer repairs guy was from my school, so I told him I'm going to report to the school authorities and everything. And immediately he said I should come and get my laptop back. So this is just to tell you that abroad, you have to stand your ground. You have to know your rights. You cannot be a pushover. Every conversation you make, you have to keep a record of. Emails are a big thing here. If you're dealing with a big issue, you have to make sure you have them on email. Take screenshots if you have to, because that's what is going to save you if you have to take the matter to court or anything like that. Don't die in silence like me. So one night within the first few months when I came to the UK, I had a very horrible experience and I got on the bus and I tried to tap my card to pay and the bus like literally declined my card, which was very frustrating because my house was 1 hour walk from where I was and it was freezing cold that day. So as I tried to tap the card and it didn't work, I just turned back around and started walking back home. That night I had my sister on the call with me, but I literally had to hold myself from crying. Like, I was like, just someone just take me home. Like, I don't know what I'm doing in this country. Like, the first few months were so hard for me. But nowadays I see a lot of people who get on the bus and really don't have any money to pay for transportation and they literally just beg the driver, please, can you like let me stay on the bus? I don't have any money. I've seen some drivers that are really horrible, but most of them are very compassionate. So if on that day I was humble enough to just beg the driver, I would have been home and I would have avoided myself the stress and heartache I got on that night. So in the UK, you have to humble yourself and don't be afraid to ask for help and ask for favors. Sometimes you might be lucky to come across somebody who will be happy to help. And even when I was traveling to the UK, I arrived at Istanbul airport to change planes and I literally had no idea where I was going. It was my first time traveling ever at 17. Like, I had no one with me. I was so lucky that the first person I asked, like, okay, I'm trying to get to this terminal, how do I get there? The person literally held my hand, took me to the terminal. We walked round the airport. I don't know how I would have found my way around, but yeah, I did find, like, he really did help me that day and I'm so grateful to him until today. So really, if you're stuck, honestly, the best thing to do is literally just ask for help. When I started using the train to go around and go to work and everything, I realized that you could get a 30% discount on your train ride if you had a rail card. And I also saw that you could actually pay with a £30 discount without actually having a rail card, and you could get away with it if nobody actually checked your ticket or checked your rail card. So when I found that I did not buy a rail card, I was hopping on trains with 30% off without a rail card, and I was like, oh, this UK government, they're not as smart as they think. Like, I'm smarter than them. Like, I found a way to go against the system. I was feeling myself. But guess what? One day I got caught and it was actually the most disgraceful moment ever. I was going to work with some friends, not actually friends, but some other people that I met on the train, and we're going to work together, and they actually let them go through. They stopped me. They're like, "Oh, where's your roll card?" I was trying to like lie that, "Oh, I forgot my roll card at home." But those people, they've probably dealt with those kind of cases so many times. They were just like, "Okay, stand here. What's your name? Blah blah blah." They wrote a ticket for me. They're like, "Okay, £20 fine." I was like, "Okay, okay." I better buy a roll card. I had to get my roll card, honestly. Like, I couldn't go on like that. My sister as well did her MBA in the UK at some point, and she told me a story of how she got a fine. That time it wasn't even her fault. She was just new to the system, and she didn't actually know how to do stuff, and she got wrong directions, and she had a fine for that. She didn't want to pay it because she thought it was unfair, but in the end it accumulated to so much more money. She was supposed to pay £50, but she ended up paying over £200 with letters being sent to her how they're going to take her to court. So please take all of the UK rules very seriously. You might feel like, oh, you're getting away with it, so there's no point of following the rules all the time. But like they say, 99 days for the thief and 1 day for the owner. So just save yourself this heartache and stress, because if you get caught, you're done for. So moving to the UK, I had this false sense of security. I thought, oh, it was so safe, and the police is always readily available, just one phone call away. You can walk in the streets at night, not worry about anything. But listen, people could rob you and take your phone out of your pocket, and nobody would do anything. Like, everyone was going to watch you get beaten up in the streets. They'll be like, "Oh my god, did you see that? Did you see that? Can you see what's happening there?" Honestly, my sister told me she was in London when she did her MBA here. She was in London and just walking on the street, and somebody grabbed a phone out of another person's pocket and started running in the streets in broad daylight. Everybody was like, "Oh, did you see what just happened? Did you see what just happened?" There was even a video going around of a girl who was being beaten on the streets by other schoolmates, and people were just sat in their car like honking and just looking. Like, the girl's hair was being pulled apart, like lying on the floor, and people were just looking. It's not like back home where if something's happening to you, it's everybody's problem. Here, people mind their problems, and there's a lot of scams and schemes. Be very, very careful and don't have a false sense of security. Abroad, you cannot survive without a smartphone and internet. Like, everything depends on you having a phone and internet connection. It's crazy. If you have to move around with power banks, do move around power banks. Put your data bundle to automatically renew. A lot of times I found myself without data, and worst case is if I'm out of the house, like, I cannot even get home. To get home, I need Google Maps, and you cannot really access Google Maps without data. A lot of times you have your bus ticket on your phone, and without data, the ticket is not activated. And if your phone is off, there's no way you're going to get on the bus, or except that you have a physical card. But personally, because I have an iPhone, I just use Apple Pay all the time. I don't have a physical card. So if my phone goes off, I cannot buy anything. I cannot do anything. So it's very, 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 very important to always have data on your phone, like every single moment, especially if you're outside. Every single time my data went off without me realizing, it was hell. So those are the lessons I've learned the hard way living abroad. I hope they were helpful to you. If they were, leave a like, subscribe to the channel, and ding the notification bell to stay notified. Until next time, I'll see you in the next video. Bye bye.